Well, hello, 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 and welcome, my Capricorn collective Sun, Moon, Rising signs. Welcome to your full moon to new moon next read for April 2020. I am your reader, fellow Earth sign, Markangelo Lyons, Mal for short, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive. So very, very happy to be serving my fellow Earth signs, if not all my brothers and sisters in the zodiac, this fine but very interesting time that we are in. That's all I'm going to say about it. You know what I'm talking about. Let's get down to business. If you are new to my channel, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment in the box below. It does drive traffic, so that I'm doing the best that I can to serve in what I do best. And this is what I do best. Cool, cool. That being said, this is a general read. Please do take what resonates, leave what does not, and check your other signs. That's why I do Sun, Moon, Rising, so you get other angles to come in and get other pieces of your own personal puzzle from this. Full moon to new moon next. This is a what do I need reading. We're only doing 5 cards total, right? Air, fire, water, earth, spirit. Different than the fire, earth, air, water that I do. It's little different, air, fire, water, earth, because we're actually going to go east, south, west, north. We're doing the 4 directions with center being the 5th element, multipass, in the center, right? So I think you'll dig it, but it's simple, but these are about holistic healing, spiritual healing, not that they're the same thing. Please take care of yourself, you know what I mean? Do what's wise, right? Follow the instructions of certified professionals, if you know what I'm talking about. I am a spiritual healer. I am a mystic. So I'm giving you the best that I got through divination systems, and the feedback I've gotten in this series so far has been pretty good, and I will be using this spread again for different things, because you really could do it for anything. This time around, though, we're just focusing it on this full moon in Libra, which is tomorrow the 7th. Here, I got my info right here. I just forgot to put it back on the table. At 10:15 p.m. on the 7th, actually at 9 p.m. Right before that, I'll be doing a little something Eastern time, by the way, in my Markangelo Lyons, Mal for short, private Facebook group. If you're interested, we'll light a little candle. It's in Libra, so we'll probably end up like doing incense or something like that, aromatherapeutic something or other to bring us into balance. Also really good romance, magic, full moon in Libra. And on a Tuesday, there's the sex angle, right? Mardi, Mars Day, Tuesday, Aries. Sign of the phallus and the sign of the uterine, right? The Venus and Mars. Anyway, you get me. I didn't make them that way. It's just the way they were made. So we're shooting for that new moon in Taurus, which will be lovely, that new moon in Taurus, really to be into the heart of the fertile earth, maybe some stabilization, but we have to get through the dark moon in Aries before we get there, the 3 days before new moon. So that's why I feel like these readings, it's like pay attention to what's going on in your element of fire, whether you have any planets in Aries or otherwise, because it could be a trine, it could be a square, there could be all sorts of stuff going on, could be volatile, just leaving it there. Good. So let's bring us all into balance. Shall we take a nice deep breath? I'm going to do the best I can to get you the clearest guidance and grace that I can from my pantheons through my divination systems for the well-being of all and for yours in particular. So please, the more you can focus on your breath, be here in the present moment, you'll be able to feel what resonates, what doesn't, and get your own connections, maybe ones I won't even see. Cool, cool. Here we go. Please breathe. We're going to start with the Healing with the Angels Oracle. Doreen Virtue, all the decks that I read are in the bottom of the description box. We're going to start for the element of air in the East. My angels, please, 1 card in clarity for this Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising sign. For this full moon in Libra to this new moon in Taurus, what is it that they need to think about? The healing of their own mind. Something, what is well, it's the Healing with the Angels Oracle. What is the healing with the angels going on that they can connect to mentally, or in balancing, healing their own element of air, powers of the East? Please, my angels, 1 card in clarity for the Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, full to new moon, April 2020. Emerging. emerging, something within is emerging, or something will be emerging from without, but something that has been, and this feels lovely. It can be hope, right? It can be health, it can be inspiration, but something that in a way has been gestating or hidden for a while, that comes up and out. Now, this is healing with the Angel's Oracle, so we're looking on the mental of mind. This could be a perspective, something that has been germinating inside of you, or what I call orbiting my mental field until it finally lands, in this case emerges. So it's a little vague. We don't know what's emerging. I just feel the healing aspect of that, maybe even a realization. So let's keep going. We're going to use the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack for your element of fire, right? Your will, your desire, your passion. Now there are 4 suits in this deck: problem, luck, healing, and grace. Let's see which one you get according to the Ascended Masters. Nice deep breath. Good. Oh, my Ascended Masters. I love you, I love you, I love you. Please, one card in clarity for my brother and sister Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising sign. This full moon in Libra to new moon next in Taurus. Please, particularly with that dark moon in Aries there that you always show me in red highlight. It's not helpful, but it is. It has to be red highlight. It's a little warning-ish. So please, my Ascended Masters, a piece of luck or a piece of the problem, so they can have an idea what the problem might be, a piece of healing or a piece of grace. My Ascended Masters, what would be most helpful for them? What do they need? Element of fire, powers of the South. Fantasy. Okay, I mean, there have been a lot of problem cards coming up in these spreads. I think, well, it's half the deck you could say it's stacked that way, but fantasy, to be very, very careful about your element of fire in terms of what you're fantasizing about. Now, I don't mean, perhaps sexual fantasy or whatever. To me, that's not ultimately a problem. But that, are you choosing something that you know is not real? Here, in this picture, we have somebody who is on a hammock, right? Bare trees, no grass, but visualizing that it's just a beautiful day and the grass is green and the water is wet and all is just... Now that's great, fine if it's a visualization, but that it's in the element of fire here. It is really important that, yes, we all face facts, but I understand that there might be more emerging here as things go. Look, we're all doing the best that we can, but in terms of our element of fire, what we choose, what we desire, it's fine to dream of what the world may be. But to bury our heads in the sand, particularly in terms of our own healing, not really recommended in general. In other words, well, we're earth signs. Do we really want to dwell too much in the realm of superstition? Yes, there is holistic healing, there is aromatherapy, there is meditation and all of these things. But there are things that are going on in terms of our choices that are we choosing escapism? See, no, okay, this is what I was picking up in the collective, and I don't think this is just Capricorn, but Capricorns, I get, you guys work so hard, right? You're born old and you grow young. So that thing of people really choosing fantasy and escape rather than dealing with what they're meant to deal with. Now, look, I'm right on that line. I'm not quite at the front. I'm not quite at the back. I'm somewhere in the middle of that line. I mean, I do love my Netflix, right? I do love my escape. I've got a couple of things I've been binge watching here, there, and anywhere. And anywhere, everywhere that I can. But at the same time, making sure that in this time where my schedule is so... like a lot of people's schedule sort of up in the air, not to escape too much into the realm of fantasy, choosing fantasy over that, oh my God, I haven't brushed my teeth in 3 days, you know what I mean? Like, it can get a little out of hand. So be careful with your element of fire there, that we need that fire to propel us forward on our path. Now look, there are days when we're just on fire in a good way, and other days we are just burned out. And if this wasn't like a problem suit, I would, it would be visualization, it would be visioning, it would be dream questing, all that kind of stuff, creating and imagining and creativity and rock and roll. This does not feel this way. This feels almost like a deliberate turning away from truth. Now, I understand if the truth is shocking and the truth is triggering, absolutely to acknowledge that that's an opportunity for immense healing for all of us, to love ourselves and give ourselves better care and to grieve if we need to grieve. A lot of us are just really grieving the lives we used to have, our freedom. I mean, it's understandable. And I understand the power of positive thinking and all that. I've taught that stuff for years too. Element of air, though, something is emerging here. Keep an eye on what your fantasies are. Some of them might be shook or broken completely, but that's okay. The only things that can be taken from us are things that need to go so that the new things come in, the better reality. We are shifting from one kind of life to another, and honeys, I don't think there's any going back on this one. But what is ahead is supposed to make us just as better as how good we got through what was. Yeah, that's the mystical rule of it. It's all the upward spiral, the evolution of the soul, regardless of what the personality likes or doesn't like, wants or doesn't want. Yeah. So let's do this, because you guys are Capricorn, man. Slow and steady wins the race. Let's get your element of water here. What's going on in your emotions, right? What are from the goddesses themselves? Now, the goddess of of Capricorn, I only have one goddess that sits in the throne of Capricorn, one deity at all, and that is Persephone. So, of course, I've been going out just out on my porch, starting to, clean up the plants and stuff. Planted some peas week before last, some moon vine seeds. Just trying to get in there to try and attach more to the fifth dimensional reality within nature, right? That grounding, healing, Mother Earth love. So let's see what's going on for you, my Caps, in terms of your emotion. And please, Persephone, and any gods, my goddesses, please, one card in clarity for this Capricorn collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, I'm pleased a piece of your guidance and grace for their emotional healing. What's going on in their element of water, powers of the West, for this full moon in Libra to new moon next in Taurus, April 2020. This card has come up a bunch of times, the Two of Cups. I think it was in the Virgo or the Leo, not Leo rising, Virgo. Maybe I'll keep my eye out for Capricorn. Two of Cups, we all call it the romance card. We all want it to be the romance card. But right now, I'm kind of feeling like I felt in those other readings. It's definitely about mutable water, right? Like a whirlpool. Two cups, as far away from each other as possible, but gravity, nature, whatever you want to call it, bringing them together to a meeting point. This can very much be about you feeling called and attracted. A pull, a magnetic pull, maybe a push, but that to not go too overboard in terms of the fantasizing about it, that there will be truth, I feel like, emerging here. As these emotions play themselves out, keep in mind, we're waning moon, right? Full to new moon, to kind of release resistance, release the fantasy, allow what is within you, your own perhaps wiser, deeper knowing, your own vision to emerge here. Very interesting spread. Let's just move on, because we've got two more cards down. Still a little vague for me. We all want twos to be certain things, but they're only twos, right? They're not eights, they're not nines, they're not tens. Obviously being twos. But you know what I mean, in terms of the cycle, in terms of the maturation of the element. Let's ask the higher selves, or the element of earth, powers of north. And I've said this every time when I ask them, why use, because my guides show me what to do, what decks to, the spread, what decks to use. And they said, well, it's for the voices of the higher self, and who has more of a, not an attachment's not the right word, but more of an interest in the physical circumstances, healing, and embodiment of a soul than the higher self that governs that soul. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't think of that. It's like, that's how I know they're there. I was like, oh, that's really smart. You guys just know what you're talking about, being, like higher vibrational beings and all. Breathe. Oh, higher selves of all involved, please. One card in clarity, a whisper of love for this Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising sign. For this full moon in Libra to new moon next in Taurus, please. What is the whisper of love you have for them for this full moon to new moon next in terms of their physical power, the element of earth, powers of the north? What's going on here for their own physical healing, etc.? Higher selves of all involved. act as if your partner is here. See, this is kind of, I think I'm feeling the pieces click together here. Two of Cups, yeah, the romantic thing. If you're not with your person, you know, they say, I hear it all the time on YouTube, my person, you want your person, I just want the person. Soulmate, schmollmate, just bring them on. But not now, right? Like, not now, right? Because we have to stay 6 feet away from people. I mean, unless you're already sheltering in place with somebody, then that's an obvious thing. That's a different kettle of fish, or kettle of goats, perhaps, in Capricorn's place. So act as if your partner is here, whether you have someone in your life or not. Act as if they are with you. And you will always consider them. Now, I think going back here to this thing of fantasy, that to not treat it so much like a fantasy, that you're actually living as if. I didn't just come up with that, you know? Live as if, act as if, breathe as if, choose as if that person is there with you. Because self-care goes on, self-love goes on, even when you are with your partner. So if you're not with somebody or can't be with that somebody, learn now. There's something emerging in you. And what if this Two of Cups is also the love that you're having for yourself? The respect, the boundaries, look, earth signs in general, we verge on martyrdom because we really do work. We're the workers, right? The Taurus, pulling the plow. The Virgo, cultivating, reaping, right? You know, the harvest, our time of year, pretty much right at the end of it. And Capricorn's the mountain goat, slow and steady wins the race. We can all kind of lean towards martyrdom on this stuff. Particularly, it's okay, I'll just do it on my own, I'll just take care of myself. But to act as if your partner is here, keeping an eye on that fantasy might very well be saying, maybe this isn't as much fantasy as you think. To not discount the power of that, how it's going to do something to you emotionally, where something emerges in the mind. Like maybe some clarity, maybe some guidance, maybe some vision, some sacred knowledge, the grace of knowledge of the third eye. Worth investigating. Let's get your last card down from the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. You nuts? Think I was going to do a spiritual healing reading without a Healing Mantra deck now that I have one? Why not? Blasphemy. Breathe. Yes, the Ascended Masters who gave us that card of fantasy. So guys, clarify that if necessary here, please. My Ascended Masters, one card in clarity, the perfect healing mantra for the Capricorn Collective. Sun, Moon, Rising signs for this full moon in Libra to new moon next in Taurus, please. My Ascended Masters, what is the perfect healing mantra for them? April 2020, my Capricorn Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, April 2020. Don't even know what it is yet, because I just want to say one side of the card is the mantra, the other the name of the mantra, nothing else written on these cards, so I'm going to use the name of the mantra to look it up in the bookie book. I say that every time because it's the bookie book. Go have a look at the bookie book. Card of Spirit, center, above. I couldn't have called it above. I would have held the card up here the whole time. Invoking self-realization. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. I've had this one for 24 hours, probably a little bit more. I choose pretty much one every day. Familiar with this one, invoking self-realization. I memorized this like crazy. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. And obviously that's not the awake in terms of am I literally asleep or awake. This has to do with how conscious, how aware you are in any given moment. So invoking self-realization. Oh, here we go. Self-realization is a spontaneous remembrance of your interconnection to all that is. See, I think that's why that thing of act as if your partner is here, that it's not a fantasy, right? Because self-realization is a spontaneous remembrance of your interconnection to all that is. You are willing to embrace your individuality as a unique expression of source in physical form. Act as if your partner is here, physical form, by aligning with the breath, emerging element of air. By aligning with the breath, you see that while you appear to be a person, it is the universe that breathes everything into existence. This mantra is ideal for reducing stress, managing pain, and relaxing the nervous system. It does feel like, in terms of your element of fire, which is really the only tricky element that's going on here in terms of this fantasy, it might be that thing of that there is through the breath, the invoking of self-realization. You are having realizations, and that are some of them fantasy? I don't know. It's not like I can tell. I don't know who's watching this. But to be aware of that the ego might grab a hold of a process and give you doomsday revelations that are not, that may very well be in the quantum, may very well be in the multiverse. Everything plays out somewhere, somehow, with somebody. But that for our own, invoking self-realization, to really be in the breath, to partner with the breath, that what's emerging here can very much be this sense of love, this partnership with the soul, becoming your own soulmate. Oh, you might want to go watch the Path of True Love reads I did about becoming your own soulmate. I don't remember the one for Capricorn specifically. But if there's something emerging in here, that there's something about that ethic of act as if your partner is here. When you have someone in, whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they are with you. So you will always consider them. There's an interesting thing there. Let's pop up the picture, see what else reveals itself, shall we? Magic clap. We've got emerging in the element of air. One would think that there would be a mental emergence, an idea, something rising up perhaps from the subconscious mind. Or you're thinking about, emerging from all of this, how you want to emerge from everything that we're going through at this time. But there in your element of fire, there's something there about fantasy. Look, I want everybody to have a vision. I want everyone to have hope and the humility to wish for a better day and a better life. One transformed from where we were, not just going right back to where we were, but more evolved, more in place. But be aware of fantasy. Check how things really, really feel on the inside, particularly in your element of water with that Two of Cups, that you're not being swept away into something like, for instance, a down spiral, right? Like that fear, just like fantasy doesn't necessarily mean you're visualizing everything going well, right? It could be worst case scenario thinking, which we are trained to do by society. I mean, I learned it from an incredibly young age, and understanding that even if people taught you that growing up in your own family, in your own society, that it's so subconscious that we're not even aware we're doing it a lot of the time. So to really keep an eye on worst case scenarios, as well as insouciant dreams, careless whispers, sorry. That was a bit of a wham moment. I'm back. Because with that card of the whirlpool here, there can be a lot of emotions moving through you, a lot of attraction and a lot of romantic fantasy here. But rather to act as if your partner is here, to allow yourself, okay, I just got the download on this, to allow yourself the feeling as though someone was there. And maybe that partner isn't just so immediately romantic, sexual, right? With that whirlpool card, Two of Cups. Need not necessarily be. It can just be perhaps with the people in your life that you miss, that you can't be with right now, that, that there's this emerging thing inside of you, to reach out in that way, to act as if they were there, to give yourself that sense of comfort and calm while breathing. Why? Because invoking self-realization, each breath confirms how awake I already am, and I would think in that context, awake would be the opposite of that fantasy, right? That in terms of any of the fear or any of the delusions of grandma, thank you, Carrie Fisher, wherever you are, blessed be my sister of the Shecky Collective, that the Capricorns really, you guys can really emerge from this feeling more stable, more strong, more balanced in your elements, particularly as you really, I would focus on at least the study of breath work, as each breath will confirm how awake you already are. So my Cappies, my goats. Tricky read, I'll give you that. A little vague still for me, for Earth signs. I like it a little bit. Some of these just came out boom, 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 boom. It was like obvious what they were talking about. But this, it feels like this is going to be a slow and steady wins the race. Keep this in mind over this full moon to new moon next. As a matter of fact, May the Capricorn collective sun, moon, rising signs be blessed with all that they need on the path of true love for this full moon to new moon next. That the thoughts, the clarity that they need emerges from this fantasy, that perhaps they are choosing positive, negative, scary, blissful, somewhere in between, that they're able to follow the emotional guidance, the emotional intelligence within them to what feels better, what they are drawn to, while they act as if their partner is here, focusing on the breath, allowing each breath to confirm how awake they already are, that they may get through this time of waning, that they may balance and heal themselves, and mate with their own soul for their well-being and for the well-being of all concerned. My pantheons, please, so mote it be. And so it is. That was a climb and a lot of words. Watch this in a week or so is my take on it. I'm sure it'll make a hell of a lot more sense because in the mental, something will be emerging. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. If I could talk, please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you feel about all of this, viscerally even. And, of course, wishing you the very best and the very blessed of this full moon to new moon next, my Capricorns. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.